Folks, welcome to Stage Soliloquy, where if you like our sidebars, then you'll love this. It's genuinely just us talking, but we do focus mostly on writing. With me is my intellectual superior and good friend, the Authenticator, aka Dalton L. Mortimer.
Yes, hello everyone.
And I'm your host slash wannabe vigilante in waiting, the brainstormer of pop culture. How's everyone doing tonight?
We need to have the cricket sound clip up so that when we ask that and nobody's here, we can just play the clip.
Right. I am now opening my soundboard because I want to make sure I have that. Yeah, crickets
I
are on
think,
the first page.
yeah, I think you've used it on me before, so I think we
Yeah,
have it.
I have. It's just sometimes I forget I have the soundboard.
Hmm.
Right. Right. So our first topic of discussion is one I think we did kind of talk about it off stream last week or last week, which is um, parody in a Brit series, right? And basically, the first question of that is how would you define a parody or an abridged series?
Um, it's got to follow the majority of the events contained within the original material. But uh, the circumstances and characters can be adjusted to change the overall impact of those events on the plot. Usually with reference to humor, but not necessarily.
Hmm. Uh, yeah, mostly I would involve. See, that's actually okay. So, how I would describe parody is obviously like something that think of like the scary movies where they basically just kind of take the aspects of certain like scary movie like horror movies and just kind of play up the tropes and certain things into kind of comedic effect, kind of making fun of them, but also telling a story. Granted, the scary movie franchise is kind of a disjointed mess when it comes to its storytelling,
Yeah.
but I think my point still stands. Is like parody itself is obviously taking something and making it kind of turning it on its head with comedy and just kind of pointing out the flaws and mistakes and overall tropes and stuff of it.
Mm-hmm.
A bridge series, it takes aspects of parody in that sense. It's just more of that. It tells more often than not when I watch an bridge series, it does kind of tell its own story in a sense while using like the animation, which usually is animation, because I don't really think you can abridge a live action show.
That would be an interesting thing to try, though.
Yeah. Um, but mostly they do tell a story. Not not often it's sometimes it's original with the animation. They take obviously inspiration from it, but they what's the what's the word they do point out flaws and mistakes made in the series. Obviously, Team Four Stars DBZ abridged is a good example of that. Because apparently Dragon Ball, the actual Dragon Ball franchise, does not have a tight continuity.
Yeah, not exactly, no.
But I have watched some of that, and god damn, that is funny. Like I've never legitimately truly laughed at something. I've chuckled and stuff, but god damn, that had me like on, I clutch my stomach.
Mm-hmm. Laughing so hard it's actually physically painful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a couple moments like that. Mostly when Vegeta gets mad at things. Vegeta
Uh,
being mad is hilarious
yeah,
about.
I love Vegeta so much. He is hilarious. Like it's just the same character, but turned up to like 12 or 13.
It, uh, the way I always view it is the characters of DBZ Abridged are the characters from the show if those characters were allowed to react organically to things and be more honest.
Hmm. Yeah. I
Because DBZ had this kind of nobility to its dialogue, but if you take that nobility away and you just make them react like um,
everyday people.
organic human beings, then yeah, that's basically what you'd get.
And I do like the characterization. Even sometimes they go very different with the characterization.
Mm-hmm.
Like that almost sometimes it could be the complete opposite of the actual character, and it still
Mm-hmm.
works within like the kind of world they've set up within their own abridged series. And I always like to think in terms it's just well, yeah, a bridge series itself is technically a form of fan fiction,
Mm-hmm.
but actually good fan fiction
Yep,
most of the time.
most of the time.
Oh, hey,
I'm curious what they will end up doing with the Majin Buu saga, though.
hello, Rebirth. How are you? But yeah, I have honestly Cell, like in the abridged series, is one of my favorite villains of all time. Not just like an abridged character, but just of all time in villains.
Mm,
Just on the fact that he's very much human.
yeah. You gotta kind of admire his just I'm here to have fun vibe.
I
Like,
will say I like imperfect, like the first form of Imperfect Cell more, just by the voice, just because his introduction of him singing Mr. Sandman is terrifying yet also comedic.
I like how they throw in um bits and pieces of parody of other things as well. Like there's a scene in the scene where Android 16 pulls off Imperfect Cell's tail. He straight up quotes a monologue from a movie called The Wishmaster, and I never noticed how similar the actor who played the Wishmaster's voice and the actor who plays Perfect or Imperfect Cell are until he did that, and I'm like, holy crap! Not only are these voices really really freaking similar, but we have confirmation that the DBZ writers watched Wishmaster. Yay!
Yeah, yeah, and that's another thing I love is like the people who work on these abridged series are all well, they are big fans of the actual series, and
Mm-hmm.
they do respectively, they respect to
Respectfully.
thank you respectfully use the actual like the show, the animation, and they do tell their own. Sometimes, most often than not, they do tell a story that is
Mm-hmm.
their own, but it still pays homage and tribute to the actual show and series and creation and creators and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that. Like I'm a big fan of fan projects. I've never really been um, non-vocal about that.
Mm-hmm.
Just on the fact that most of the time they're not, they don't get paid doing this. They want to do this.
Yep. Though I imagine it's significantly easier now than when they started because things like Patreon and crowdfunding exist.
Right, right. But obviously, what I mean is that they aren't doing this as kind of like they're not like an actual legit. They're not like an animation studio or anything. They're doing this out of enjoyment and love of the franchise.
Yeah.
Um, right. So I guess it's kind of we got done with that. And kind of my next question is favorite parody slash abridged series and why?
Um, I think it's a toss up. Well, actually, no. I think DBZ Abridged is my favorite because as much as I love Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series, and I actually prefer Yu-Gi-Oh! As a show to DBZ, but um, DBZ Abridged tends to stick closer to the original plot. So in a lot of ways, you can see it as just a more comedic dub, whereas Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series gets more meta, and I don't know that that's necessarily a strength.
Huh. I have not actually seen Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged. Keep in mind, I'm still pretty much new to this whole abridged series thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I would have to say is like one of the first ones I watched, which was My Hero Abridged, which is by Joyride Entertainment.
Mm.
Um, it is good just on the fact that the writer slash kind of, I don't want to say creator, but the guy who runs the whole thing,
Mm.
um, he he told his own story, um, and it's fantastic. Yes, it's funny, but it also has a very emotional, kind of at times dark story,
Mm.
and and he does take a lot of liberties with certain things.
Mm.
And Don, I think you would like this series a lot just on the fact that he has all these like it does that thing where, and I mentioned this with like Invincible, where there are things mentioned in like one episode as like a passing comment that come back and have significant ramifications on the plot later down the line.
Mm.
And you don't notice all these little details that he's doing in the background with his writing and storytelling and stuff
Mm-hmm.
until like you watch the whole series again, like rewatch it, which I
And
think,
then it becomes visible.
yeah. And he was even able to release a movie, I believe, like a month and a half ago, of an
Mm.
entire abridged, like an abridged movie for that. Like like a full 1 hour, I believe.
You know what? Thinking about it, if they ever wanted to try and do a live action abridged series, I think the best bet would be Power Rangers abridged.
Probably.
Because Power Rangers is already kind of a haphazard mesh of new stuff and dubbing, so why not?
Mm-hmm. Um, but yeah, and also I would say the DC abridged universe, which that's his actual channel name. I
Mm-hmm.
would recommend to go check that one out. On the fact that um, it's hilarious. Like they make these well, they the whole thing with DC characters is that they're gods among men more than often,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they turn the characters into like these just fucking assholes, and it works. It's awesome. Like Superman. I know you don't really like Superman a lot, Dalton, but this abridged version,
Mm-hmm.
he kind of plays up the redneck stereotype.
Because Kansas Farm Boy.
Well, he was also raised on creationism.
Well, that's a recipe for an apocalypse if ever I heard one. A creationist Superman. Bang.
Well, he's just kind of an ignorant dumbass, if anything.
Well, I mean, Kansas Farm Boy stereotype, I think.
Yeah, yeah, but it works. It's funny as hell. Specifically, I like Batman, not just because he's Batman, but because again he's a fucking asshole.
So,
And
Frank Miller's Batman.
actually, they even do a thing where he says he's the goddamn Batman more than once. I think it's like a gag.
Yeah, had to be done, didn't it?
Yeah. Um, but mostly I got into it by watching like their abridged version of Young Justice, which is good, by the way. It incorporates a few different animation movies and stuff.
Mm.
Still good though. I mean, they even it's just a lot. It's a lot. Like there's a whole like playlist where it's like a chronological order of their universe,
Mm-hmm.
and you gotta respect that. Um, it's just a lot of good fun, and it also tells a lot of good stories. It actually, well, for the record, Joker. They have the Joker in this. He's
Mm-hmm.
not really changed. He's still kind of just the same Joker. I don't really think you can play the Joker as anything else.
Yeah, I mean the Mark Hamill's or the DC Universe version of the Joker is one of those glorious things that you just don't mess with.
Yeah. They incorporated the story of Red Hood this time.
Hmm,
Though I
cool.
think in this version they went so dark that apparently maybe the Joker um, did something to Robin before he blew him up. Like after he beat him with a crowbar and before he blew him up.
Hmm.
And I'm kind of afraid to say what he did, but what I think what happened.
Oh, okay. I think I know what the thing you are referring to is.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's super dark. If you really try to think about it, but all in all, it's really enjoyable. Like they even turned like the Suicide Squad animated movies, and they made them well like the Hell to Pay one,
Mm-hmm.
which I know you don't like a lot, on just on the fact of what they did with Doctor Fate.
Dr. Fate is not a male stripper and should never be a male stripper. Thanks.
But I I think in all, another thing I like about these Brit series is that they have a lot of emotional moments too that really work and sometimes pay off and have a better connection with the audience than the actual like thing, like the actual
Mm,
movie or cartoon or whatever had before.
mm.
Um, but yeah, no, that's kind of what I like. Those are my two main recommendations for a series. And kind of moving along with the series. Have anyone seen like a bad parody or a Brit series? And why do you think it's a bad one?
Um, a bad abridged series.
I gotta admit
I
that's kind of hard to be honest, because
Yeah, I've only ever seen the ones that were good enough to be recommended to me, so I don't know if I do know that apparently someone tried to do a Death Note abridged series and that didn't work out well, so maybe that one counts, but I haven't seen that one.
again, I'm gonna say this one. I'm not sure if it's gonna give me any flack, but something Witty's first episode of My Hero Academia abridged.
Didn't it work well?
I don't think it worked well, in my opinion, just on the fact that, well, again, like I had watched, I watched My Hero abridged by Joyride Entertainment, and I don't know, it, I guess I'm not trying to judge it by those standards or anything. I'm just saying like it felt off to me because I watched something Witty's Sword Art Online abridged, which is good. It's just I think some of the it's it's fine itself. It's just I think some of the voice acting is weird. Like the guy who plays Kirito in the abridged series of Sword Art Online for something Witty also voices Izuku, and I don't really think he does great for that character.
Hmm.
That's just my own. Again, that's my personal opinion. That's more of like the kind of behind the scenes stuff. Story itself is fine.
Hmm.
Gets kind of weird at points, but there's good stuff there.
Hmm.
So, so honestly, no, I don't really think there are a lot of bad appreciations. Just on the fact that one, people put their heart and soul into these things,
Yep.
and often they turn out pretty well just by the sheer effort that everyone puts into them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Honestly, I thought that would take up a lot of our time with the abridged stuff. Hmm.
It appears not to have.
Yeah. But kind of okay. So the last one, and Dalton, I think you and I had a discussion about this last week. Is what series would you parody slash abridge, and how would you do that? And I know I'm putting you on the spot for that one, Dalton. I'm sorry. If you need a minute, maybe I could go into the one you kind of gave me an idea to do last week.
Sure. You can go ahead and do yours, and
So Dalton gave me this. I'm not sure. We reached that through a natural discussion about it last week, but you gave me the idea to abridge Ben 10, specifically Ben 10 Omniverse, because one thing I actually did like that series a lot. There were
hmm
gripes I had with it, obviously,
yeah.
um, but mainly we were discussing about like mostly on how we would change the characters. I wasn't sure if I was going to do like a full on story or just have to do the whole arc thing
hmm
within the series itself. But ultimately, I wanted to change up some of the characters. Like I think I wanted to change Ben from kind of being that snobby kind of celebrity douchebag,
Yeah.
even though technically it kind of makes sense within the series, like the actual
Yeah.
series.
Because you give a 10-year-old with a hero complex the most powerful weapon in the universe, or
Hmm.
the most powerful device in the universe. I know Smith didn't originally intend it to be a weapon, so
Yeah,
don't at me.
yeah. But yeah, no, I ultimately thought of making Ben just like kind of the traditional hero archetype. If
So
anything
so
was,
sort of like the Tick.
um, yeah, but Ben wasn't an idiot.
Mm,
Um, but well, yeah, by traditional I do mean like he acts very heroic and stuff,
yeah.
just to be a hero. He just to do good because it's right and all that.
hmm
Um, I think one idea I had, like again, I discussed this with you last week, Owen, is that um, Rook, who I actually really liked as a character,
hmm
I think mostly I wanted to have his dialogue be the chittering of squirrels or something like that. You know, just
Um, I think I have an idea of what I would abridge. I think it'd be funny to do the Tick animated series abridged, but played straight. So instead of doubling down on the humor, I'd cut out a lot of the humor and play the Tick straight as a like tradition. Sort sort of like I would take the Tick, the '90s animated series, and I would turn it into something um more along the lines of like a darker, more self-referential version of Batman the Animated Series.
hmm, actually that sounds good. I don't know how we find the footage from all this stuff though. Question, but that
That there is probably enough in the series too.
right. Um, right, and that actually brings up a thing too. Is like I had told you that I'm not good at comedy. I'm not very comedic.
hmm
And I thought about playing a series straight, like getting a comedy series, comedy animated series, and like playing it all straight. Um, I think one idea I had was one of the newer cartoons, like maybe try and make Teen Titans Go straight, like play it all straight. You know, don't know how to do that with that.
That would th- that would be the most painfully Herculean task I think anyone ever attempted.
Yeah. Um, Another part of me thought of Steven Universe, but that show did get serious, I believe.
Um, it got serious by its own standards. I don't think it never went full like Ben 10 Ultimate Alien or Generator Rex. There's still room for you to to serious things up
Yeah,
if you want to.
yeah, but
Because
ultimately,
most of the Steven Universe problems get resolved with what I call the kill it with flowers method. They basically resolve everything with an emotional with a everyone breaks down crying emotional beat.
mm,
It's basically I will heartwarm you to death
yeah.
is the standard approach to most problems in the universe. So you could do a lot playing off of that, I think.
Another one I actually thought about doing was red versus blue, like because that is a
Pokemon?
huh?
Pokemon?
No, the Rooster Teeth, red versus blue.
Oh,
I think ultimately dubbing that would be easier, like redubbing it,
maybe.
but again, I wouldn't really know how to because they do serious storytelling.
Hmm.
So it's just but yeah, ultimately, my if I were to ever bridge something, not saying I would, just on the fact that it takes so goddamn long to do.
Mm.
I don't think I'd ever have that kind of time. Um, I would try and grab a comedy series and play that straight, like ultimately straight.
Mm.
Don't know how I'd do it, but I would.
I could see Adventures of Gumball being abridged like that.
Yeah. Do we have anything else to add to Bert's Prosperity series? Or I don't know. Actually, this brings up an interesting thing. If you were to ever um, like say you were going to do a movie, like an animated movie,
Hmm.
what would you abridge?
In like an animated movie format.
Yeah, like if you were to
Mm.
take an animated movie and like maybe try and make it a series, like break it up into a series.
Hmm. This seems like a bit of a cop out, but I think um, if you were to take something like the series wrap up movies that Netflix has been doing and turn those into the final seasons of their respective shows, that would work out well.
Mm. Um, hmm. Part of me kind of I don't know why, but my mind automatically went to either Treasure Planet or The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I could see you getting away with that with Treasure Planet. I don't know if it would work well with Hunchback.
Yeah, it's just like those are two of my favorite movies that kind of got screwed over by Disney.
Atlantis: The Lost Empire also.
But I don't know. I kind of feel like I don't want to touch that just on the fact that that movie's already pretty great as is, and I don't think I can make it any better.
But you think there's room to grow on Hunchback. Interesting.
No, it's just I think maybe I could actually be funny with that one.
Mm.
The Treasure Planet, I honestly no, I have no idea. Again, it's hard for me to think because I think a lot of the movies I do like are able to be self-referential and are pretty tight and concise in their storytelling that I don't couldn't make fun of them.
Yeah.
Though a part of me kind of wants to try and if I were to ever do one, maybe try She-Ra, Princess of Power, like making a Brit series out of that.
That'd be funny.
Again, I would play it straight and actually try and focus on a story than whatever the hell they were doing.
Hmm.
but I think my main problem would be with the animation, obviously, because it's like a cheaply made animation, so there's so many problems and inconsistencies and stuff.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously, you can make jokes about that, but that's kind of like it's like a cheap cop out of humor.
Yeah.
So yeah, but ultimately, if anything, I would try and grab a cartoon that sucks and ultimately try to abridge it to make it better, like the series that it could have been.
Yeah.
That's how I would do an abridged series. I think Dalton would try to go the more typical route of abridging, which is like well, I mean like just kind of go the opposite of what the actual show went.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess we don't really have anything else to say.
Rick and Morty abridged might be good for you.
Actually, that's a funny thing because they actually kind of did that with Justice League Crisis on Two Earths with the bridge,
Hmm.
where they made Lex Luthor kind of actually good Rick, even though he's kind of still a stuttering jackass.
Well, I mean, he's still gonna be who he is, but
Yeah,
still.
but no, he's actually a good guy, like the good Lex Luthor from the abridged from the abridged Crisis on Infinite, not Crisis on Two Earths. So,
Ah.
and yeah, but before we actually do, I want to bring up DC Abridged Universe, which is the channel name. If you want to go check them out, um, they have like this kind of underlying story that's being weaved through several different movies and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and also shows too. Um,
Yeah.
well, show because Young Justice is the only show they got, but they have a
Mm.
few different movies that they've broken up into parts for obvious reasons because of like copyright stuff and all.
Yeah.
But I mentioned this to you too before, Dalton, is that they I think they're incorporating kind of like the Button storyline in a way,
Mm.
where mainly it's Doctor Manhattan, and I think he's kind of being like the kind. I think this version of Doctor Manhattan is kind of a douchebag.
Mm.
Well, more of a douchebag, I guess.
Yeah.
Where essentially he's fucking around with these abridged characters and like for his own amusement, his own entertainment.
Mm.
Because and kind of a spoiler for Crisis on Two Earths, but apparently the Owlman in that is technically the original Batman of
Ah.
like of like the first Justice League movie they did abridged,
Mm.
and he was swapped out by Doctor Manhattan apparently, and yeah, just essentially Doctor Manhattan's being like this kind of jackass of a god and just fucking around with everyone just for his own amusement and entertainment.
So he's Q from uh Star Trek Next Generation.
Yeah, but I would say kind of worse on the fact that when Luthor of Earth 3 finds out,
Mm-hmm.
he gets killed for it.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, so a part of me thinks that they're going to incorporate Flashpoint with that storyline because they haven't done that version yet. Like they haven't done that version of the movie yet.
Mm.
Um, and they do have their own animation. Granted, it's not similar to the actual animation of the stuff they're using.
Yeah.
It still works. It just kind of I'm not gonna really rail on them for that kind of stuff. For like
It's uncanny in comparison, what you're saying.
yeah, it's very stick like. I guess is the
Mhm.
best way to say it. That makes
Mm.
sense.
Stiff.
Um, kind of stick figurine. It it's very flat. It doesn't have like a dimension to it.
Ah.
Um, but still, it works. Um, I'm just curious to see where they go because they're it's funny as hell. Like I mean, they did the Throne of Atlantis movie too. Like it was their second movie,
Hmm.
which is it was really good. Like they made Aquaman badass too, which
Hmm.
I respect.
Yeah.
But at the end, they actually did a parody, kind of a parody of the Avengers like party scene
Mm-hmm.
from Age of Ultron, which was like one of my favorite scenes in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked. It was good. It really made you care about the characters a lot more and stuff. And I think they've really got the characters down to a T. Which obviously, is what my it's like my big thing with stories and stuff. Is like the characters.
Hmm.
For one thing, they turned Hal into a slut, like Hal Jordan into like a. They even call him that in the actual series.
Hmm. So they basically turned Howard Jordan into Guy Gardner.
Yeah, but he actually is a cool dude,
Hmm.
and I like his interactions with, a British Batman. Like their camaraderie is really fun.
Hmm.
Though I always hate that they do the censored bleep thing. I'm not really sure why they do it.
Because sometimes it's more comedic to have an abrupt beep than it is to have the swear words
Well, I mean,
sound.
like it also works from a storytelling standpoint too, because there's another thing where I'm just spoiling for you, dude. But I know you don't care about spoilers, and I think you'd
Yeah.
still be surprised and have a lot of fun with this series if you were
Hmm.
watching. Um, but they use the footage from the Dark Knight Returns where he fights Superman, where in a potential future, Superman fights. Um, what Superman becomes president and becomes a totalitarian president who banned elections and just yeah, it got really fucked up. Again, this is a Superman raised on creationism and in Kansas, middle of Kansas.
Hmm.
So he's an idiot, but I think in his own way he means well.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, in that series he did let poor neighborhoods get flooded, like when he stopped a flood from happening, redirected it. So
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't give a standard Kansas redneck godlike physical powers.
yeah, but Batman says "fuck my one rule" when he snaps Superman's neck in that, and it's uncensored. It's kind of show like the weight of that kind of thing happening. I mean, like it's still kind of played for comedic effect, but it
Hmm.
works.
Yeah.
And again, I like these abridgers on the fact that they're actually good storytellers and very good comedians too.
Hmm.
And like, what the fuck? How do we not have more people like them working in the actual industry?
Because the world is cruel and ideologies are poison.
I wonder. Mm, so leap here. I feel like I can use that. Hmm. Yeah, there's no bleeping button here.
Hmm.
I was gonna kind of do the joke where I say fuck, but it's bleep, and then I say fuck
It's
idea.
bleep. Yeah, but the censor bleep isn't on the page.
Not on the first page.
Hmm.
All right, so I guess we should move on. So topic two: hero's journey, villain's journey. Don, would you define hero's journey first for us?
Um, well, a hero's journey as essentially defined by Joseph Campbell because he's the one who did the majority of the narrative research on this, usually involves a hero refusing his position as the hero until circumstances are such that he is called to some kind of adventure or called to prove himself, and then the uh, corresponding journey he goes through to essentially perfect himself. likewise, a villain's journey is essentially the same thing, but the inverse. Whereas usually with a hero journey, you start with someone who is unnecessarily bitter, dark, or cynical, and you force them to moral uprightness. In a villain's journey, you start with someone who is morally upright, and you beat the shit out of them until they essentially learn to give in to um, selfishness, self-aggrandizement, and their own personal warped sense of right and wrong.
Mm-hmm. Case in point, the Joker movie, as Dawn pointed out when we first reacted to the first trailer.
Yeah. Idealistic person who really just wants to make people laugh and wants life to be good gets the shit kicked out of him until he's just like, you know what, fuck it. The world is cruel and I'm gonna laugh at it because reason.
Mm-hmm.
I will spread joy by making people aware of how absurd and nihilistic the world is. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. What was I? Well, actually, so it's kind of like just a spur of the moment question, because the question I have is all weird, and I think we need to build up to that. But is there like an example you can think of for either a hero's or villain's journey, like from media? Um,
Um, one of my favorite recent examples of what you might call the villain's journey um is the story of Mr. Glass in the Unbreakable trilogy. Um, mostly um because he essentially got the short end of every conceivable stick in life. He uses that adversity to make himself better in exactly the same way a hero would, but the difference, of course, being is he realizes he's the villain, and he actually doesn't mind being the villain for what he considers to be the greater good. He would he would rather be a villain in a world of heroes than nothing in a world with neither heroes nor villains.
yeah. Um, Honestly, I would say the hero's journey. If I were to like, do the opposite for you, Dalton, I feel like I kind of have to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think my favorite hero's journey is Luke Skywalker. Where he starts off as being kind of this kind of bratty farm boy on a planet in like a
Mm-hmm.
nowhere planet, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And then he loses, then wins, then loses again.
Mm-hmm.
And in Return of the Jedi, he's essentially become a Jedi Master. Um,
The problem, of course, with Luke's hero's journey as it is contained within the three movies, he kind of sucks as a Jedi Master. That that's always been my problem with him. And also, he still does have that bratty snark. It's just that bratty snark has been refined into noble pompousness sometimes by the end of his arc. I I'm gonna get lots of shit for this, but I really dislike Luke as a character. Um, because like you said, he starts as a brat, and he doesn't really. Yes, he goes through his arc, and he is a better person by the end than he was in the beginning, but he's still not what you'd call a good person or a competent hero. He basically just does the bare minimum, and it's always kind of annoyed me that like Luke is the gold standard for the hero journey, given that
well,
he's kind of
it's the only one I could think of at the moment. It's just some fact I've never really paid much attention until recently.
I think a better use of the term here or use of hero's journey was done in Avatar: The Last Airbender with Aang.
I admit that's a
And
better one.
you could even make an argument for the villain's journey for Zuko in the first sort of half of his arc when he betrays when he betrays Iroh at the end of book 2 and decides to embrace his Fire Nation roots for a bit. But then, of course, they invert it again, and he goes back to needing to redeem himself.
Moral complexity, folks.
Yep, it's a thing.
I feel in some stories that moral complexity often goes to too far extremes, where it's just
Mhm.
it's kind of riddled and boiled down to just the barest standards.
Cough, cough. Once upon a time, cough.
You're gonna find any way to ever. You're gonna find every time you're gonna find a way to talk about that.
Well,
Aren't you?
when you talk about bad examples of how to do heroes and villains, Once Upon a Time is probably the example in modern time, because the problem of the Once Upon a Time multiverse is the multiverse of Once Upon a Time has what I call a moral bias against competency. Because what you'll find in Once Upon a Time is heroes can be as incompetent as they like, and the universe will find some way of bending over backwards to still make them the good guys and still make them win. And no matter how intelligent or refined or competent the villains are, because they're villains, the universe will bend over backwards inexorably to make them lose, no matter how well thought out their plans are. It's one of the things I fundamentally hate about Once Upon a Time when it's written poorly. There are times when that doesn't happen, but more often than not, the heroes will be idiots but win anyway because the universe says so, and the villains will be competent badasses, but they will lose anyway because morality.
Okay then.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Hmm. Trying to think. Right, I was gonna say like I think maybe Azula is a villain's journey. I mean, she's already a villain. It's just
Well, the thing is, yes, there would be a villain's journey for Azula, but it would have already happened for her.
right. I would say
With
what I would say what we see is kind of more of her descent into madness, if anything
yeah,
else.
yeah, which isn't to say that you have to do a hero's journey or villain's journey on screen. In fact, some of the best characters I can think of have already done all their personal growing they need to do. Yoda, Merlin, Gandalf,
Basically, the master wizard's
yeah,
character.
the mentor archetype. And oftentimes, if you try to reveal their backstory, you will utterly fuck it up. And the same is true for competent villains. The example of that would be Hannibal Lecter. Excellent, excellent character. The minute they tried to give him a sympathetic human backstory, everything went tits up. Don't get me started on Hannibal Rising. We will be here a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, that does bring up another good point. Is how do you show someone has changed from their journey without actually showing it, like from their own personal journey? You know, that's because usually when I think of that, it's usually like with either like kind of physical scars or stuff like that, or just how a person's personality is different and how you would see them before.
Um, that's a good question. I haven't really thought of that.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Um, I'm trying to remember this one character. He lost his eye. Yeah. No. For some reason, I keep thinking of like a blind swordsman that was so cocky that they got their eyes taken because of their like arrogance.
Hmm.
They didn't take the fight seriously and all that, and they became humiliated. You know, not humbled. They
Yeah.
became humbled and stuff. I mean, Darth Vader is kind of easier to explain just on the fact that, I mean, look at him.
His whole character is, oh God, I lost everything in literal fire,
Hmm.
and it literally burned away everything that resembles humanity.
You know, one of these days I'm gonna have to edit those. I'm gonna do an edit of those prequels because
I,
I
I I think that would be significantly easier than a lot of the other things you're attempting to rewrite, because the bare bones of the prequel work. It's just the execution that is the problem.
yeah. And granted, I'm also trying to rewrite the sequel trilogy by actually like just going doing my own thing with it.
Hmm.
That's kind of hard just on the fact that I haven't written anything for like a year. Again, it's just with other things I've been doing too. So, but yeah, no, it's just I think more often than not, to show a character's change in development or at least the history of that kind of stuff is usually by either like some type of physical change, like if it, like either scars or like how they've grown. Um, Usually, I like to think it's how their eyes look. You
When
know,
it's when it's in a visual medium, you can also convey that by how they carry themselves or how they stand. Like again, going back to Aang in Avatar: The Last Airbender, when he first gets thawed out from the ice, he has a very wide gait and very open gestures, like in the way a kid would act. He's not precise, or he's very carefree with his movements. But as his mastery of the elements progresses, he stands more reserved and stalwart, and he keeps his hands and things to himself because he understands the power of each individual gesture he does.
yep,
Physical self-control can also be a visual indicator of inner self-control.
yeah. Well, I would also say it's because like he's getting older and he's kind of growing out of the childishness of his nature when we first meet him.
Right, but I'm just saying in terms of like visual representation of like themes and character progression.
Yeah, I'm saying that too. It's like
Yeah.
in a way, I'm just kind of more referring to like him actually growing up because I wouldn't say people are that like when compare someone as they are like at the age of 20 to the age of 10. More often
Hmm.
than not, they don't do the over. I say more often than not. Obviously, like I'm not saying some
Right.
people do that. I talk with my hands, like I'm doing it right now.
Yeah,
So
I was just doing it as well.
yeah,
But okay, better example then, where the age is less a factor. In the Netflix Castlevania series, when we first see Trevor Belmont, he's very hunched over. He has very sly, quick motions, almost like a snake trying to slither around things and not be noticed. But by the end of the series, he stands taller, and he's more he's more composed and less tired and depressed looking.
yeah. I want to say Dracula, like in the same series, like goes through kind of a change. Obviously,
His is a classic villain journey. He tries desperately to be good, and the universe kicks him in the balls. And his response is just fuck it, I'm going to destroy all the things.
well, I would say he acts more of a monster in season two. I mean, yeah, he still has that kind of humanity in a sense. It's just
Well, I mean, the reason why he acts more monstrously in season two is because the depression and the remnants of the loss and the consequences of his actions are starting to weigh on his psyche to the point that he essentially desires to commit suicide to such a degree that he stops speeding. And as a result, when we finally do get the final battle at the end of season two, um, what we actually have is them fighting the weakest version of Dracula, as evidenced by the powers he displayed in the pilot episode, which are much more large scale and severe than the powers he has when he's fighting the trio at the end of season two.
I have to admit, I do like his relationship with the with I want to say necromancer.
Which one, Hector or Isaac? And the word in universe is Forge Master.
The like the guy, the best friend, I guess, to Dracula.
The one whose magic is red colored.
Yeah, yeah,
That would be Isaac.
yeah. So I like that relationship between them because honestly, I think even though Isaac isn't a vampire, I think kind of shares the kind of view that most vampires do with humans.
Yeah. I think one of the quintessential sort of axioms of the Castlevania show is humans kind of suck. And in fairness, we do kind of suck.
I think it's a half and half. It's just that the good ones don't often stand up to the bad ones. Is the thing.
Well, I wouldn't even call it necessarily a moral failing. And maybe this is just because I'm me and I tend to see everything through this lens rather than the moral one. But I think in a lot of ways it's just competency. Like what attracts Dracula to Lisa isn't even necessarily her desire to learn science. It's just her desire to learn anything, period, and her focus on efficacy rather than what everyone assumes the traditions to be.
Can you repeat that last part? I don't know if I don't know if I didn't hear you right. I was just
Uh, the I said I think the thing that attracted Dracula to Lisa wasn't even necessarily that she was interested in science. It was that she was interested in um, the efficacy of things as opposed to blindly being subservient to like ritual and tradition.
mm, yeah, I agree with that. It's just hmm.
I think if anything, Dracula's original contention about humanity that Lisa kind of was sent to um, disrupt was that humans were just not competent, and this connects to moral incompetency when they obviously burn her at the stake and everything. But I think if you really look at Dracula, it's not that humans are immoral that he has a problem with, because of course he looks down on vampires for moral reasons for the most part. What
What I mean is, but when I'm not saying like it's not moral. What I'm saying it's just more of the assholes, like people who just act like jackasses all the time. Often are the ones. I just feel like the people who are often like the calmest, the ones do things based on logic and stuff like that,
mm-hmm.
are kind of drowned out by all the loudmouth, incompetent douchebags.
Yeah, it's
That's what I meant.
I get but well, that's kind of what I was saying. What I was saying is it's less to do with the moral incompetence, and it's more like the moral incompetences that there are stem from practical incompetences.
Yeah, yeah, that's what we agree on. Um, that show is good.
Yeah, Netflix's Castlevania anime is awesome
Why the fuck don't they get more money?
because the world is cruel and maybe Dracula did nothing wrong.
I don't know if he didn't do anything wrong.
There are days when I relate very strongly to Dracula.
Well, I would argue that him slaughtering, I would say kill the people responsible, but don't slaughter. I mean, yeah, you could slaughter that village that lit her on fire. That's fine. I'm just saying, don't slaughter all of humanity just because of like I don't know, 100, 200
Well,
people.
I think this was explained in the pilot episode when Alucard essentially tries to make that argument to him, and his response is that woman was the only reason on Earth for me to tolerate human life.
Hmm.
Thinking of it in terms of that, and remember how much of a gifted polymath Dracula is. If he's looking at this from just a sheer mathematics perspective, like he considered Lisa so brilliant that he was willing to spare the entire rest of humanity, bearing in mind he's basically only found one human that he finds worthwhile, and then they kill her. So now you have all of these humans all over the goddamn world, like a plague of locusts, and the one good one is dead because of the sheer just logical incompetence of the millions of other ones.
Well, you could also blame religion, but it's not really
Well,
religion.
I mean, to an extent, he does that too. But I think he also is aware that the people that are religious are the people in the positions of authority in this time period, because of
Right,
course,
right. Well,
Middle Ages.
what I was going to say before you cut me off for that is that it, like all, and I'm quoting Red from the Blacklist here, because I recently started watching clips of that on YouTube,
Mm.
is that like anything beautiful, man will kind of twist it to their own selfish gain. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't say religion itself was the bad thing. It was more of the guys in charge of the religion that went to.
Well, I think Castlevania's approach to religion is a topic in and of itself. And in fact, I've done a video on sort of the philosophical, magical, and religious complexities of Castlevania. Go and watch that video if any of you want to. Please do. It could use more views.
Nice
Um,
plug.
I am not above shamelessly plugging, especially because that video only got like 20 some views. And
I plug myself on my own on my own streaming channel, so I'm not judging.
yeah, and I am going to get around to covering season 2 as well. It's just right around the time I started covering or was planning on covering season 2 was when all the fucking shit hit the fan with the sleep deprivation issues. So,
Okay, right.
and also I wanted to make sure I could get it right, and that season 2 was very complicated, magically speaking.
What the fuck?
Bless you.
I didn't sneeze.
What was that then?
I
It
said
sounded
what?
like you.
I'm gonna be honest. I screamed to a high pitch when I think you thought I sneezed, but I also said what the fuck after that. Mouse ran by my foot,
Hmm.
jumped and hit my keyboard. I mean, it's
Ah.
fine, but I mean, dude, yesterday I went to the bathroom. You know, I'm wearing like sandals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, actually, I just walking around my bare feet. Uh, Fucking mouse just runs right by my foot.
Hmm.
Oh, no, over my foot.
Yeah.
I have a dog. She tried chasing them before, but nothing. And that's just sits just lies down in the kitchen.
Well, that there's your problem. You sent a dog to do a cat job.
I can't get a cat because my dog will probably eat it.
Hmm.
And my dog has killed before, so I'm kind of scared of having any other animal around her.
Ah. Well,
She killed a gopher, I think.
my cat actually managed to kill a mole once.
I did have a cat once that got into a fight with a raccoon, fucked up its ear greatly. That was years ago, though.
Isis is quite the hunter. When we let her out, usually um she'll come back with all kinds of dead things. It's been birds, it's been, like I said, the mole, and so many goddamn mice.
Uh, what's your cat's name?
Isis.
Hmm.
We've had this conversation before. She's named after the Egyptian goddess.
Oh no, I know. I'm just like, I, I'm just trying to make a joke. Obviously, did not stick the landing.
If only your camera was on, you could have faked a spit take. But yeah, you're not the first person to make that joke. Every time I mention my cat's name, just all of these sideways looks I get.
Yeah, it sucks that that organization has kind of twisted that name into something evil.
Yeah, huh?
But I'm talking about that organization because, well, fuck those guys.
Yeah, and also, yeah, fuck you and your apparent ability to make YouTube demonetize videos just by discussing you.
I mean, we don't get monetized anyway. I just don't want to talk
Well,
about it.
no, but still, it annoys me that like everyone is so afraid of being Islamophobic, quote unquote, they can't even criticize terrorist groups. And no, I'm not saying that Islam or Muslims are bad. I'm just saying
It's
sort
extremist. It's.
sort your shit out, Muslim world, is all I'm saying. Like,
I will say almost every religion has its extremist. I'm not sure about Eastern because honestly, I feel like the Eastern religions kind of have it sorted out.
well, to be fair, the Eastern religions have also existed for longer than most other religions. So I I genuinely think that there is a sort of growth progression for like a maturation for religions, because every religion goes through their violent fundamentalist phase. See also for Christianity, the Middle Ages, fucking hell. Um,
But yeah,
and I think it just happens that because Islam is a couple centuries younger than Christianity, they are now where Christianity was a couple hundred years ago. Hopefully, in a couple hundred years, they will have cooled their jets. And of course, any progress made in our lifetimes towards that will be a good thing. Speaking of which, if you're interested in the de-radicalization of Muslims, support Majid Nawaz and Imam Tawhidi. They're both trying desperately to reform Islam, and I support them entirely for it.
I've heard a lot. I've heard the countries the landscape of those countries are good, like nice, and like some of the cities and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just obviously I don't want to go there at the moment on the fact of certain problems that have arisen there.
Yeah, I'm really not interested in getting my head cut off for like three separate reasons. So no thanks for
I'm gonna
now.
be honest. I feel like I would be fine there, just on the fact that I kind of look well. I kind of match their criteria in a way, except for one checkbox. But
Yeah, but that of course the as much as uh Muslims tend toward the whole infidel thing, they are at least a little bit lighter on most Abrahamic religions. Most of them are, obviously. There are some Muslims who will kill other Muslims because they don't think they're being good Muslims. But the majority of Muslims, I think, are a lot lighter on the Abrahamic religions than they are on non-Abrahamic religions.
Okay, that is enough talking about that.
Yeah, before the channel gets taken down because we are being quote unquote Islamophobic.
Uh, Right. So kind of our last topic, though I feel like we could squeeze in a few other topics if we have any ideas.
Hmm.
But topic three is superhero costume design tropes, where essentially it's just how a lot of superheroes have like these kind of things that are in like between them and stuff, like noticeable things that have kind of become a norm for the costumes and stuff.
Yeah.
So let's just start off with one of our favorite tropes. Don, do you have one, or do you want me to go first?
You can go first, and I
Okay.
will think.
I'm not really sure when this trope started, but I've always been a big fan of like full face masks. Um,
Um, that I believe began with certain heroes in the pulp sort of precursor to comics.
yeah, I'm just not sure when, like the exact time or like who started the trend or whatever. It's just
Well, the reason for the mask in the first place was because, of course, superheroes are vigilantes, and therefore they it's necessary to some extent operate outside of the law.
right.
Also, also, um, many of those types of characters wear masks to blend in with with the crooks that they were fighting, because many burglars would wear masks to obscure their identities.
Mm-hmm. But mainly why I do like is just on the fact that there's so much way of design that you can do
Hmm.
with those full face masks. That I think you're kind of limited with just like a half mask or like a like a domino mask or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, Plus, I've always had this thing where my my thought pattern was, why don't all superheroes wear full face masks? You know, to kind of protect their identity and stuff. I mean, like, yeah, you still wear a mask, like a domino mask. Honestly, it's just I think you have a better chance of hiding your identity with a full face mask. You know?
Right. But personally, I'm not a big fan of the secret identity as a thing in the first place. So I'm sort of neutral on the face mask thing. I do like it as like a style thing. I think it works for some characters, but in just in general, I think the idea of the secret identity is kind of stupid.
And we might have to discuss that later. But if you have a favorite like design, like costume thing, just please.
As much as I agree with the practical reasons Edna Mode has for disliking capes, I do like more theatrical costumes. Like I like when a hero's a hero's outfit is very bombastic. Although I will say that I prefer when their costume has a practical purpose. Like for example, Doctor Strange dresses the way that he dresses because those are sorcerer's robes, and he needs them to effectively cast his magic. Whereas with some characters, it's like why would you even bother designing a superhero costume, quote unquote?
Yeah, I mean I don't disagree with that. I mean I've never been a big fan of capes. I've even like written a few jokes for my superheroes to kind of mock capes.
Hmm.
But then again, I've also had characters actually wear capes and stuff, so I'm a bit hypocritical. I think practically, yes, they aren't good.
Yeah.
Um, but I think they do add a theatricality to a lot of the heroes, and sometimes just also like address. It's another aspect of the character, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
One of the things I've always found kind of annoyingly hypocritical about cosplayers in particular is they when you ask them why they cosplay, a lot of them will give you reasons like this character's outfit is so interesting, this character's outfit is so intricate and refined and whatnot. But then they will go and wear quote unquote normal clothes. And again, maybe it's just me, and maybe I'm in the minority on this one, and maybe everyone will mock me for this. But my approach to that is if you want to have an interesting outfit or a interesting set of style, find one. You don't need to co-opt another character's outfit to have an interesting fashion sense or an interesting style. If you want a, personal style, then cultivate one. I and again, maybe this is just me, but I would prefer a world where there were fewer quote unquote normal people. I would prefer a world where everyone strives to be the best version of themselves. And that includes not being lazy when it comes to their sense of style.
Conformity, dude, it will always be a thing, no matter how hard you fight against it. People will always want to be part of a collective because they don't like being the outcast, because being an outcast kind of sucks.
Well, okay, that's fair. I will give you that. But my question is, why does the norm always have to fucking suck? Why can't we unify on the highest standard of quality? That my approach isn't to get rid of the tendency for human beings to organize in clusters because that would be just fucking stupid. My approach is bring up the limbo bar, as it were. Make the bar for quality a little bit higher, rather than have everyone cluster towards the bottom. Let's bring humanity as a whole up and make everyone better. Because if we cluster towards the top and we strive towards quality, I have no problem with people being quote unquote normal. My issue is the standard for normal is so pathetically, pedantically low and pathetic. And then it was quiet for much longer than it should have been.
I'm still here.
Okay, he's dealing with a thing, I think. So,
I'm still here. I'm just like making a sandwich.
alrighty.
No, I think I have said before. I do like cosplayers a lot, just on the fact that I like how much. I do agree. Like they should find their own style. I do like what they do with like certain characters and stuff. And even myself,
Right. I'm not saying that, costumes should be forbidden, but the thing that irks me is the statement of one thing and then the not following through on that thing. If you like the way a character dresses, find a way to incorporate the way that character dresses or what you like about that character's dress into your everyday outfit. There are ways to, it goes back to my issue with escapism. Rather than try to escape into a world that's better, why don't you try to find whatever it is about that world that you think is better and translate it over into the world as much as possible? My approach has always been be the change you wish to see in the world. You think modern standards of dress are annoying and pathetic? Find find whatever era of clothing you like most and find a way to incorporate that into your everyday style of dress. You like the skills a certain character has, then study those skills and be, better, a better version of yourself as a result of that.
right. Well, I wear quote unquote normal clothing just on the fact that whenever I have to, I don't really have to worry about getting the. When I wear like suits and stuff, which is not often,
Mhm.
I often worry if I'm going to get this dirty or something. With regular clothes, I don't really have to worry about that.
My usual attire is one of the things I like about the way that I usually dress is with what I wear, it's not formal enough to look like a suit usually, but it is formal enough that if I wore it to a black tie event, no one would give me a sideways glance. My approach is sort of find something in the middle there rather than formal up when you need to be in a formal situation. Find something that you can wear in as many situations as possible. It's one of the reasons I hate t-shirts and kind of find them to be annoying because they strike me as like the lowest common denominator of clothing. No offense to anyone that enjoys them or wears them, but
Take it.
I would not be caught dead in one if ever I had the option. And of course, to quote the 11th Doctor, bow ties are cool, and they always will be.
I don't think I could pull. I thought about getting bow ties once, but I don't think I can pull them off.
You'd be surprised how easy it can be once you sort of put a little bit of um put a little bit of time into finding the right one.
No, no, I just prefer regular old ties. Well,
Hmm.
more specifically, like red ties or white ties. Never black ties. More often than not.
Yeah, black is the most annoyingly basic color for a tie. Not to say I don't have them. I do own black ties, mostly to accent more colorful outfits that work with black. But um, if given the option, I would prefer a bow tie that has more interesting designs and patterns on it.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of a tie is sort of to be a focal point or an accent piece for your outfit. So it should be a little bit flashy and eye catching, at least in my
And
opinion.
for my prom, I had to wear a mint green one because it was my school colors. Well, my school colors were green and white, but I had to wear a mint green tie.
I actually own a mint green tie, but it's a plaid mint green tie. I really I really like it because one of my favorite outfits is I have this like lavender button-up shirt with diamonds on it, and it for whatever reason looks really good with that mint green plaid tie. It hearing me describe it, it probably doesn't sound like it looks good, but when actually here, let me see if I can find a picture of me wearing it, and I will change my icon to it for the purposes of effect. To do.
Honestly, if I ever think about like going my own most unique style, I often think I would look like an anime character or supervillain.
And what Yeah, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Now, scrolling through my pictures to find the appropriate one.
Right. Well, I'm not saying that anything's wrong. It's just I don't think I'd have the money right now or ever to get the stuff required to get the outfits I would
Well,
like
but
to wear.
that is a funny thing. A lot of people assume dressing in a unorthodox fashion is ungodly expensive. But if you're a smart shopper and utilize like thrift stores and that sort of thing, um, like at Burlington Coat Factory in particular, I've gotten button-up shirts for like $10 and bow ties for like $5. So
Um, I'll be right back.
yeah, okay.
I am back. Sorry, I had to check my front door. Thought someone was there.
Ah,
Yeah, you ever hear someone knocking and then you go and there's no one there?
and there's no one there, and you're like, well, damn, it must have been the wind or something.
Yeah, the wind.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really too worried about having spirits in my house, just on the fact that my grandmother told me when she bought the house that she blessed it with holy water.
Well, I hate to break it to your grandmother, but um, that can actually be a bait for certain spirits.
Oh, shit.
Usually like divine ones or fairies, but like demons are not gonna tolerate holy water,
Right.
for the most part. But yeah, because here's the thing. If you were a spiritual being, you would be attracted to displays of spiritual energy. And holy water is water that has been impregnated with spiritual energy. So if you're a wandering spirit and you are looking for surges of spiritual energy, you're going to be more drawn to somewhere that has deliberate amounts of spiritual energy everywhere, as would be the case in holy water.
Huh. Well, I'm not too worried about. Well, okay, maybe I am a little too. Maybe I am a little worried, but I was more worried of like demons and evil spirits.
Hmm. If you ever do run afoul of anything like that, let me know. I will give you a book on protection spells.
I will greatly appreciate that. I mean, granted, I do see shadows from time to time in my house, but it could just be my mind playing tricks on me.
Yeah, I think that's just paranoia. If it were, there are certain signs to look for actual spiritual activity,
Well,
and
actually, okay, so this actually brings up an interesting thing about myself, family mostly. It turns out my well, no, my great grandmother on my mother's side, was a witch. From the stories I was told by my grandmother.
hmm.
Um, and I by
But
and
by which definition of the word witch are we
well,
working?
again, from my stories, she was evil, truly evil.
Okay.
Um, like, well, I'm not gonna bring up the stories of how she's evil because those stories are pretty fucked.
Okay.
But my grandmother did tell me that she would often see her mother, my great grandmother, um, conjuring things like with like the kind of pentagrams and stuff, like demons and things. Um,
Right.
well, it's just an interesting. So,
So we'd be so to kind of answer my own question, when you say witch, you mean in the medieval Christian sense of the word.
I suppose so, and I would also say kind of the quote unquote stereotypical view of a witch.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I gotta ask, does that kind of mean I am technically more able, connected with like kind of the magical energy?
Um, potentially, there are cases of blood magic, um, and residual sort of psychic ability that manifest there. But important thing to keep in mind is if you ever do decide to start studying that kind of stuff, the source of the power isn't what you need to worry about. What you need to worry about is how you use it.
I kind of
If
get,
you if
I
you
get that. It's just I was curious. Like I feel like that would make you very more interested. And kind of, I thought that'd be some
I I,
interesting
I,
thing.
I am quietly pondering things for the record. Let the record show I am quietly pondering.
Yeah, I would say that I think again because I never met her because she died um, way before I was born.
Mhm.
Um, but I would say that she probably might have misused the kind of gift she had.
Now, do you guys have a family legacy of it, or was she like a one-off? Now,
Honestly,
now I have now I
honestly,
have
I've
interesting
never.
questions.
Well, honestly, I have no idea because again, I was only ever told how evil and just malevolent my great grandmother was to my grandmother.
Uh-huh.
And
Hmm.
keep in mind that is, I was only ever told one story of my great grandmother doing that kind of stuff, and it was only by glimpses of my grandmother when she was a child doing that thing.
Yeah, that is something to be noteworthy. Because of course childhood memories can get kind of
Muddled,
fucked it
yeah,
fucked in the translation.
yeah.
Um,
But
so so that is possible, but if your great grandmother also had a history of doing abusive, neglectful things, then it makes it less likely that it's a misinterpretation. But then again, I don't know your family, so they're
honestly, I
I
think you really like my family. I mean, yeah, we're all assholes, but we're assholes with hearts of gold. Most.
I have noticed. If your family is anything like you, then yeah, that's probably the case. But anyway, getting off of the personal abyss again.
That's why they
We we just keep we just keep getting drawn back into that personal information spiraling abyss there. Oy.
right. Um. Okay. So the second thing was, what tropes do you think need to die in a sense that they are forgotten and left out to dry kind of deal?
Um,
Like for superhero costumes, I mean.
like, hmm. I think that every character having some kind of emblem like on their chest or something is a thing we can let go of now. I know it's a spin on Superman and he was in turn a spin on Circus Strongman and what have you, but like n not ev I guess what I'm saying is not every character needs one. And I and in terms of like how characters appear or how characters are drawn as well, stop giving unnecessarily musculature to characters whose powers are not strength based, please. Like for characters who their physical strength is a key feature of them, by all means, get you know, have them look out however they are should look. But
Just
with
don't do Rob Liefeld.
with characters who their powers are mental or intellectual or skill based, it doesn't make sense. Like, okay, as a perfect example, in the Constantine animated movie, Constantine City of Demons, um, there's a sex scene between John and the living embodiment of the city of Los Angeles. Um, and when she takes off his shirt, he is unnecessarily well built. And given how Johnny has always been a wisecracking trickster who uses his wits and usually only his wits and his magic to get out of situations and never has, to the best of my knowledge, set foot in any kind of gym whatsoever, he shouldn't be that big muscle wise. It doesn't make any the same is true of Doctor Strange. His powers come from sitting in a dusty old library in an ancient manor house
Let me guess, you're going to
learning
complain about
spells
Benedict
and whatnot.
Cumberbatch.
Well, yes and no. See, the thing of it is, Benedict Cumberbatch is naturally very skinny, and to an extent that makes sense to me because again, Doctor Strange's powers come from sitting in a room all day meditating and reading books. So why would he have an athletic build? But for whatever reason, when he got the job for Marvel, they gave him a workout regimen. And to be fair, they gave Robert Downey Jr. a workout regimen too, but most of RDJ's workout regimen was stuff like Tai Chi and yoga and stuff that was more about like flexibility and tone than mass. And for whatever reason, they didn't do that with Benedict. And I'm sitting there going, why? Why the fuck did you do this? He is an intellectual. There is absolutely no reason he should be that jacked unless he actually makes a conscious effort to be, and there's no reason for him to make a conscious effort to be. And nor was it established that he ever did. So, yeah, fuck you, Marvel, for whatever reason. You assumed it was okay with Tony Stark, that Tony Stark wasn't jacked to the nth, but apparently not with Doctor Strange. Now, granted, Benedict Cumberbatch was skinny enough to start out with that even when he did put on that weight, he still didn't look huge. But it still doesn't make any sense for the character. The character is a introvert, a scholar, and a mystic. There's no reason for him to be that jacked.
And to be honest, I think he kind of looked like my version of Doctor Strange in my rewrite of Endgame.
Yeah, probably.
Just based on the fact that, well, he's in Endgame for more than, like, what, 5 minutes?
Yeah, it's actually interesting. I don't even think it amounts to that much. Someone did a tally of how much time each character got in Endgame. We'd have to look it up, I think.
Well, if you
It
want, I
couldn't
can
have
look
been.
it up.
It definitely couldn't have been more than 10 minutes.
Well, I know that. I was being charitable with the 5.
Yeah.
And we went off topic again, but again, that's kind of what we're here for.
Mhm.
Okay. Avengers. But honestly, I don't know. I don't really think I have a. I mean, I agree with the tropes that you think need to die. So it's just I don't think I have one because I think there's always a way to kind of explain a trope for a character for superhero design.
Another one is not every hero needs to be like classically handsome, and that might be a petty thing on my part as well. But like again, when them being physically or genetically superior is part of their character or part of their powers, sure. But like one of the things I've always liked about John Constantine is he's a very, for lack of a better word, um, average looking dude. He's not particularly attractive, and he's not particularly well built. He's very skinny because he's a trickster, and he's toned because he does a lot of running and fleeing from demonical forces and whatnot. But beyond that, not really. Um, and as I've always said, in my interpretation of the character, as it, at least, Doctor Strange is a little bit ugly. Um, like he's not classically attractive because again, he kind of shouldn't be. He spends most of his time either worrying about the existence of, the nature of existence, or battling demons in another dimension, and that should kind of wear him out and break him down a bit. Even if he was classically handsome when he was a doctor, just from the lack of sleep that he gets, and he gets lack of sleep because, of course, one of his reoccurring secondary villains is the living embodiment of nightmares. So I can't imagine he gets good night's sleeps a lot. And of course, most of the time he spends his sleeping hours astral projecting, which is in and of itself a kind of work. Um, so it doesn't really make sense for Doctor Strange to be classically good looking. He should at least be a little bit weathered and a little bit wizened by now. And it sure as fuck doesn't make sense for so many scientist characters to also apparently be able to get like modeling contracts. And the same is true for women, by the way. Like I don't see any reason why every female character needs to be a pinup girl. For characters like Wonder Woman and Power Girl whose sexuality is a part of their character, or Catwoman or Poison Ivy, leave it where it stands. It works for the character and it's a necessary part of the character. But
What about She-Hulk?
I think She-Hulk you've got to leave alone because it's been established in all but the most recent books, and the most recent books suck, that part of what the gamma exposure did for her that it didn't do for her cousin is it basically took her physical attributes and it amped them up, but it didn't distort them at all. So it basically turned her into a model.
A green model.
Yeah.
The wife of the Jolly Green Guy.
I don't think that would be too much of a hurdle for most men. I think having a 7-foot supermodel with superhuman strength probably would be a turn on regardless.
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like she would be very fun to talk with.
Yeah, she does seem like she's obviously intelligent enough to be a world-class warrior because that's part of her character as well. So she wouldn't be one of those ditzy supermodels.
There are ditzy supermodels.
Yeah, the vast majority of models tend to be a little bit empty-headed.
Is she not just
Because
stereotyping, or is that like just?
I defy you to look at the Instagrams or Twitters of any given female model and tell me they're not at least a little bit vacant up there.
Kind of don't want to.
Yeah, and that obviously hashtag not all blah blah. Because of course there are smart women who are also exceptionally pretty. Case in point in terms of fictional characters, Hello Nurse.
God damn it! You stole it. I was gonna do it.
Yeah, Hello Nurse.
Yeah, correct.
Who apparently has an IQ of 192, which is, in my opinion at least, the most attractive thing about her.
Yeah. Second thing would be the blonde hair.
I don't really care one way or the other about the physical attractiveness of women.
Yeah, I'm allowed to be I'm allowed to be kind of a stereotypical dude. But yeah.
No, I'm not judging you for that. I'm just saying that doesn't really make much of a difference to me one way or the other.
Yeah. Honestly, honestly, intelligence has always been more of a major turn on for me than anything else.
Yeah.
You don't find a lot of people that match your intellect. Yeah, you don't find a lot of people that match your intellect, and when you do have an automatic connection.
You hold on to those people because they are to be loved like a fine jewel.
Not sure if you can hear that, but yeah, no. Again, I can't think of a trope that needs to die. Like my own personal opinion. I would say kind of. I have exceptions for this, but I would say kind of a uniform costume, if anything.
Oh, like team uniforms.
Yeah, because I've always been more of the individuality of a character.
Yeah, it in the same way as any clothing, it should reflect the person's personal style. Uniforms just in general can be very annoying. My one exception to that rule is if like they can personalize those uniforms. Because oftentimes you can tell a lot about a character or a person from how they take what is a standard uniform and they tweak it to make it their own. That was actually one of the good things about the Michael Bay produced Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I thought, because in addition to the mask color difference, each turtle had things that indicated sort of their personality and their personhood, or turtlehood, I guess. And just quiet.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I was looking at it.
I thought you were giving me like the silent treatment over the bad pun.
Don, you went robot and glitched out there. What'd you say?
I I said I thought maybe you were giving me the silent treatment because of the bad pun.
You made a pun.
Turtlehood?
I wouldn't say that's a.
Well, word play. Bad bad word play.
Hmm. Sorry, I'm trying to look for Doctor Strange. Like there are videos of people doing like screen time for characters in Avengers Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Don't this one at least. It doesn't have Doctor Strange in it. Like the list here.
And there, folks, is the problem. He was in it so little that people didn't even think to include him.
Well, Ancient One is here. It's at the bottom.
Yeah, she got more screen time than he did, which you know what I'm all for because her dying at the end of Doctor I understand like thematically and character wise why they did it and yada yada, but like I felt like we missed out on the opportunity to see what she could actually do.
Uh, in seconds, it's she has 171 seconds. She's at the very bottom.
So that would be roughly 4 minutes, give or take.
Yeah. Tony has 109 or 1,997 seconds.
Hmm. I wonder why they broke it down into seconds.
It was the movie. There was another one, but it was Infinity War and Endgame,
Yeah,
which I believe was by minutes. So,
yeah.
but Yeah, no, he was very much underused in game. He
Yep.
wasn't used at all.
Hmm. And given how much time he had in Infinity War and how crucial to the plot he was there, it's kind of insulting.
Yeah, so okay,
Granted, I would rather him be there and crucial to the plot in Infinity War than not at all, but
right. It's okay. I will talk a little bit about my rewrite. I won't give a lot of things away, but I will talk about it. As soon as we're done with like the last part of the third topic, because I feel like one don't because you and I did have the discussion about it before the stream and all,
yeah.
and also we only have like 2 hours of this thing so far, and I kind of want to shoot for three.
Okay.
Who knows? I might even get into my Captain Marvel rewrite because you talked me into doing that one last week or like 2 weeks ago.
Well, somebody's got to do it, and I trust you more than most people.
I appreciate it. It's gonna be. I mean, I already have most of it written down. It's just the characters I'm gonna have to write, and Captain Marvel is gonna be the longest one to write and
Yeah,
talk about.
because the only character traits she does have are insufferable.
I was gonna say
Insufferable,
arrogance.
smarmy, and conceited are basically her three character traits.
I was gonna say arrogance, but I think you summed it up better. And that's not an attack to Brie Larson. If anyone thinks that is, it's just
No, it's the character.
yeah. If anything,
Although I will say it seems like she infused a little bit too much of her own pompousness into that character, and that
and
doesn't.
well, it's more of we have critiques, which we're allowed to critique people based on the merit.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm gonna say, as an actress, Brie Larson's okay. It's just again, I don't think she has the presence to carry as a superheroine. Unfortunately, she can sing. I know that.
Honestly, I think she'd do better as a villain.
And don't you know we can't have female villains because it's sexist.
Well, but aren't women underrepresented in villain roles? Question mark.
You confuse me with your logic.
Like I love doing that. Just taking one feminist argument out with another feminist argument.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I have written a lot of female villains. To be honest, I mean, granted, some of them have they could be fleshed out a little bit more, but I think all in all they work.
Yeah.
I mean, I wrote one that was who was a wife to the main antagonist of that story. She was still dangerous though.
Hmm.
Called her Feral.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, it's a play on like kind of X-23 kind of.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, so last kind of question is, what tropes of superhero costume design do you think need a revival?
Hmm. Hmm.
Trunks.
Uh, yeah. I could see that coming back.
Yeah, I just think it's a classic thing. I mean, I've been told that. Like I told my uncle, like he's a comic fan like me. Like in my
Mm-hmm.
version of Superman, when I was working on my DC universe kind of rewrite,
Mm-hmm.
actually make it good and coherent and shit. Is
Mm-hmm.
that he would go on the character arc of wearing like a homemade costume, and then kind of by Justice League, he's wearing the actual like classic Superman suit, even though it's technically looks like it's kind of armored, but it does have the trunks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he's like classic Superman. He's Though he did give me the argument that it's weird to have your underwear on the outside of your pants, which I won't disagree with. It's just I think it's a staple of Superman as a character.
I'd like to see like a revival of something that pulps used to do a lot, and some characters still do, but not as many as I would like. Uh, I like when the superhero's costume is a spin on an actual suit,
Ah,
like
yes, like
like with Wesley Dobbs era Sandman, or with the Spirit, or
it's really
um
just it's really more of just a business suit with like a cape and a mask, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I can get behind that one.
And you could even you could even, and I would make the argument for John Constantine as an example of that. Like his suit is very distinctive and it fits well alongside the other heroes, but it's also a fairly practical and even understated in times suit.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I can get behind that one. I think I've had like again like I think I've done a few characters like that. Like one that's well, it's actually a legacy character who wears like the kind of old costumes that that his family members wore before him.
Yeah. Also hats. Hats need to make a comeback in superhero attire.
What kind of hats?
Just hats in general. I don't really care. Just hats.
So if I had a character with a trucker hat, would you be fine with that?
If they were like a redneck or a spin on like a trucker hat, or a trucker or something, sure. I mean more like,
Fedoras, Stetsons, and stuff like that.
yeah, more unorthodox hats. Like it actually, I'd like to see like a medieval based character that wears like a chaperone.
Chapeau.
It's a French hat.
Okay, I'm gonna
If
look
you
that. I'm gonna look that one up. I'm curious.
Yeah.
How do you spell it?
um Chaperone, I believe. Or no, it's at the end it's an AN, I believe. I would figure out how to spell it, but that would require typing it into Google, and I
All right.
can't leave the window I am currently in, or it will disconnect me.
I think you might want to go get yourself a computer sometime soon, Dalton.
Yeah, for Christmas or my next birthday, I might have to. But,
Is it like a beret? A beret, I mean.
similar looking, kind of, yeah. Except it usually has a long sort of tapering thing around the top.
Hmm. Wait, does it look like one of? Does it look like um a golfer's hat, kind of?
Sort of similar, yeah. It looks sort of like a cross between like a standard cap and a turban. Hang on, I will attempt to look it up before disconnecting. But if I fail, just re-add me to the thing.
Yeah. Wait, can't you open another tab?
Not on my phone.
Huh.
Okay, if my internet wants to work, that'd be great.
Okay, I think I. Well, okay. We are. If there are any people watching or who will be watching this, folks, we are sorry. It's just out of my curiosity. I'm trying to think of a hat joke, but I can't think of any.
Okay, I'm back. I couldn't find it.
Hmm. I think that was out of my own curiosity, and we don't really need to waste anyone else's.
Well, no, we can just I just wish I knew how to spell the damn thing. Um, would also be great if my internet would like to work today. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Load, damn you. Load. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Wait a minute. I think I might have found it. Maybe.
Okay, screen share and I will confirm.
Something like that. On the right over here.
It's not loading for me. I'm gonna have to dip out and come back in because my internet's gonna bitch fit until I do.
Okay. Oh, folks, this is an awkward thing. Sorry. Well, we're all awkward, I suppose. So, this is actually a question for anyone who will pop in or anyone who will be watching this. And in the comments below, comment. Do you ever wonder why we're here? Like, you ever just have a moment in the day and just wonder, why are we here? Why are you here? Why am I here? Are we just here by some cosmic coincidence? Or are we meant for something? Do we have a destiny? I don't know, but comment. Okay, you good?
Yep.
Okay, and there we go. Is it? Do you see it now?
That's not it, no.
I typed in French hats. How about this?
Try Renaissance hats instead. It's not in fashion anymore in the modern era.
Well,
Really.
that would that actually would have been very helpful. That's not me trying to be a jackass. I'm just like, I'm guessing this, right?
No.
Hmm.
Okay, why the hell is this so freaking hard to find?
Okay, Renaissance French hats, I think, would be better. Okay, yeah, here's something. There's something. Ah, for fuck's sake. There we go.
Um,
Any one of those look?
think the top one might be one, but I can't quite
Hold on.
see.
Okay, let me try. Okay, I'm going to take this off for a moment, and then
Well, at the very least, you found a way to you found a way to pass the time. You were worried about passing the time.
yeah,
And this is supposed to be a soliloquy, so random off off the top, off the topic things are gonna happen. So
Yeah.
I just wish I knew how to pronounce the damn thing.
Spell it. You can pronounce it, you just can't spell it.
Or no, I can pronounce it. I just can't spell the dang thing.
Okay. There we go.
Chappelle.
I don't know why, but a part of me thinks it's this one, like underneath the two on the top here. If you can see my arrow.
Okay, I figured out how to pronounce or spell it. Chaperon. Chaperon.
Okay, just so we're CHA.
Peron. Chaperon.
Really? One of these?
Weirdest non sequitur ever, but yes, I would like to see more chaperons.
One of those.
That's not a great example, but yeah.
Is that better? Better example, I guess.
Scroll down a bit, because they're usually not bound up like a turban. They're usually expanded out a little bit.
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. Okay. Don't think I would be wearing one of those, just on the fact that, again, I don't think I could pull it off.
I've considered buying one, but they're expensive, unfortunately, as most custom things are.
Yeah.
And of course, Etsy tends to make everything expensive, and that's the only place I found that you can really get them. I did find a really interesting looking one that was evergreen and burgundy colored.
Hmm. Okay. Well, since I still want to keep this going for like another 50 minutes, I guess I should bring up my rewrite stuff, like things I'm doing. Just kind of an update from my other channel. Right, give me one more.
We could always plumb back to the depths of each other's writing.
I think we've suffered enough in the last 2 weeks for that.
Well, maybe some of my poetry would be a good way to pass the time.
You know what? I am going to grab a coin, and we're gonna flip poetry or rewrite, because honestly, both sound good.
Yep.
I think would be entertaining for the folks. So,
yep.
I'm gonna flip a quarter. Okay, heads or tails?
Heads.
Okay. And by flip, I do mean like spin around like a top and just wait for it to land.
Okay.
Heads. You called heads, right?
I did.
Okay. So I guess we're reading some. We'll read some poetry, and if we still have time, yes. Well, I'll delve into some stuff of mine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Actually, we might do the revisioning of Saga of the Winterblade. Might make that a thing, like just a little ongoing thing for Stage Soliloquy. Okay. Hold up. Okay, so later or the Grail?
I think the Grail one is more interesting, so let's go with that one.
You know what? Before we do, I kind of want to read your profile information.
Oh Christ! No, 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 no. Okay. Not today. We'll save that. We'll save that for another time. We don't need to hear my stupid 15-year-old way of describing myself. Fuck off.
I am 15. My name is
I
Dalton.
swear to God, I would disconnect the call if you don't stop reading right now. I'm going.
Okay, okay. How about
I need time to register the shame for that. So we could.
actually, I just find it weird that you mentioned your age first. I mean,
I was.
not as weird as you not liking sandwiches, obviously, but still kind of weird. I had to work it in somehow.
I still can't believe we're on that. But okay.
I think it's weird, and sometimes I'm gonna mention it. I don't mention it often, but when I do, I'm going to.
Okay. But anyway,
Right,
let's get into the Grail.
pulling it up. Okay. Okay, and everyone see. And by everyone, I mean Dalton.
I can, yes.
Okay.
Of course, I wrote the damn thing, so I should at least have some vague recollection of what it says.
You know what? I'm going to pull up a little bit of music just to get the mood. What? I can be dramatic.
Nothing. I'm just wondering what your music choices will be.
I feel like something that's appropriate for a poem called The Grail.
Hmm.
Okay. Hmm. Sorry again. I am trying to find it. So.
What the hell? Sorry. My phone is ringing, but apparently when I hit the disconnect call button, it didn't take the hint.
Oh, I get a lot of those guys.
Well, no, it's my friend Natalie, but like I said, when I hit the end call button, it didn't actually end the call. Okay. It appears to have stopped now.
Okay. Hmm. I've got to unmute this. Oh, God damn it. Sorry. Ad.
Curse you, ad!
The grid. You know, that was actually supposed to be a troll there, but I think I think the dialogue there just kind of gave it away. So, never mind. Hmm. Okay. The Grail. Neither cup of metal or wood, nor can it be found in holy blood. It only be found in the minds of wise men, and has helped shape history time and again. It is not something you can touch or see. It is an ancient philosophy, preserved in the art of alchemy. It is not something you can go and get, but in fact, ancient secret. And if you take the time to see, thereby lies a piece of history. Before the days of Moses had even begun, the Grail was a heart of civilization, and it passed to his grandson Solomon. He kept it locked under the temple in a box until at last it was carried to Europe. So far, by a band of knights, the Knights Templar, but knowledge is dangerous, as you will see, if you pay any reverence to history. Driven to a secret society, and yet the Grail still survives under the banner of 1333 and 555. Okay, not bad. Again, grammar mistakes, but not holding that against you.
Well, it's also poetry, so there's less of a strict parameter for that.
Well, no, you put M instead of N in and.
Yeah, the typos.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
So yeah, typos, but I'm not holding that against you. You're 15 years old, so.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's an interesting piece. It feels like it's kind of tied to a story somehow.
It was about Freemasonry, if you couldn't tell, or rather about esoteric philosophy in general.
I kind of got it was something about philosophy and magic in general. Well, not magic, but
the number code at the end there were all Masonic numbers. 33 is the Freemasonic number of divine completion, and 555 is the number for divinity.
As opposed to 666, which is the number
the quote unquote mark of the beast. Yes.
Mm.
Although there's a theory going around that the reason why that is associated with the demonic is because it was the numerological signifier for Emperor Nero, who was famous for feeding Christians to the lions and burning them at the stake.
So I am 15. My name is Dalton.
I swear to God, I will disconnect the call. We're not reading this today. We can do it. We can do it next time after I've had a significant proportion of time to ready myself for the abject embarrassment that is going to follow.
Some people think I'm gifted.
I swear to God,
I had to read that part. I'm done.
I'm going to disconnect the call if you don't stop fucking reading.
I'm done. I closed the window. We're done with that. For now. I mean, if you want to embarrass me, I can. I mean, if you want to embarrass me, I can go pull up my book and read another chapter.
No, we don't need to embarrass you. It's just that is the one thing I'm probably the most ashamed of on this site. The way I describe myself on the about page. So yeah, I've actually genuinely considered finding the password for that site just to delete that description.
Well, to be honest, I didn't read it all, so
yeah.
I did want to read it though, just some fact that I figured you would be embarrassed by it.
You were correct, sir.
Right. Okay.
And now fuck off. Because That was just
Okay.
don't know why that don't know why that made me get so fucking frustrated, but it did.
Okay, so I guess kind of moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so usually how I do these kind of videos on my other channel, like for the rewrites and other things, I write out a script,
Mm-hmm.
obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And well, for some reason, just so I make sure I'm not really void, but I'm not really like given any problem or anything. Like if someone doesn't like me, like let's say some SJW were to find my rewrites and call me sexist or whatever. I kind of have this thing, I have that whole speech where I'm not like attacking anyone, like fans of the movie or whatever. I'm not attacking anyone. I'm just saying I think it could have been done better, and I'm going to try and get my version and stuff. Though I do make the joke that I should have probably rewritten it when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
I just, to be honest, I write too that I didn't think it was worth it at the time.
Mm.
But yeah, all in all, I have like the plot, the theme written and stuff. I just have not written out the characters yet. I will, sometime soon. I just keep in mind I wrote this. I wrote all this like within yesterday. Plus my Avengers rewrite, which again is like uh, uh,
4 videos.
4 scripts for 4 videos, and will probably be more videos. Well, more scripts for more videos because there's a lot I had to change and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like so, but yeah, basic plot of my rewrite is Kree specialist Veers, aka the amnesiac Carol Danvers, of the science officers, along with her mentor and partner Jan Rog, who is Jude Law's character, are sent to the planet of Terra in order to find the Skrull war criminal Talos, who is hiding near there. Upon a botched ambush, Veers finds herself with Agent Nick Fury, who tries to help her find this criminal as their journey tracking people. Veers starts to see old memories and people she saw but didn't know before. She starts to question everything about herself and her mission as she comes head to head with the villain. So,
Intentional ambiguity, I assume.
what? Don, you're a little far away.
I said intentional ambiguity, I assume, at the end there. The villain, as opposed to Talos.
Well, I was going to do this thing, like, I think it was Mr. E we had on who we talked about with Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
God, it's been a while. But
Yep.
he is right that it makes no sense for the Skrulls who are a shape-shifting alien race to just be refugees. So my kind of thing is I think for this group of Skrulls we see is they're essentially a rogue group of um, they're a rogue group of Skrulls that kind of want to defect, but the Kree don't trust them, so they're just trying to. The Kree are mortal enemies to the Skrulls, and they just want to exterminate all Skrulls because they don't think there is any possibility of them being good.
Yep.
Actually, there is a funny thing. I do the same thing Guardians of the Galaxy do with having songs to be to kind of reflect on characters.
Yeah. Song
Mainly,
cues.
huh?
I said song cues.
Yeah, song cue. Thank you, Dalton.
Hmm.
Um, well, keep in mind that my theme for this version of Captain Marvel is the individual overcoming the collective.
Hmm.
Um, that being different from it than everyone else is better when compared to the problems that arise when one is forced to conform to the overall collective.
Hmm.
Um, right. So the first song is "Zombie" by the Cranberries,
Hmm.
because I do still have it technically set in the '90s.
Yeah.
So I had to look up songs from either the '80s and '90s
Hmm.
too, as a reference.
Yeah.
So "Zombie" is the first one because I listened to the lyrics and it works. Like,
Yeah.
I think I wrote down the reasoning here for it. Um, the lyrics are reflective of how the real personality of Carol is fighting within the subconscious of Veers.
Hmm.
Um, while the second song, "Yesterday" by the Beatles, which signifies that she's starting to remember her past and memories,
Hmm.
that comes in the midpoint of the movie. And the last song for the hmm? I'm sorry, did you have something to say?
No, I didn't say anything. Just
Oh.
continue.
And the last song for the final fight, "Shout" by Tears for Fears, is her solidifying her own identity as an individual in direct conflict with the collective that is the Kree Empire.
Hmm.
Again, it took me a while to find songs that worked for what I was going for.
Hmm.
And I remember you saying that if this movie was to actually get made like my with the theme of individuality over collectivism,
Hmm.
the feminists would throw a big old hissy fit.
Yeah, because female sisterhood, basically.
Dumbasses.
Hmm. And notice that there is no male equivalent to that.
Yeah,
Not even as an ideology. Like white nationalists and so forth want there to be racial collectives, but nobody has ever been a male nationalist or anything. Nobody has ever been like the male identity because no one gives a shit about the male identity particularly. The male identity is one of direct utility and service to other people, usually.
personally, I never really gave much thought to the male personality. Not male
Yeah,
personality, but the male. Uh,
identity.
yeah, just on the fact that I am me. I am myself.
Yeah.
Just me being a dude is just one aspect of it.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, another thing is that, like I do with most of these, is that, and how I feel about a lot of the movies is the cast is often too big.
Hmm.
So I kind of I made it smaller.
Ah,
It's just don't get me wrong. I like side characters. Usually they're more interesting than the actual character.
yeah. Particularly in Captain Marvel.
I wouldn't even go that far because I don't really think there's anything good in that movie.
This is true. Not much is.
But
They
I
even managed to ruin the cute kitty by making him too important to Nick Fury's backstory.
I don't even think I have the cat in this one. No, I don't. Carol Danvers slash Veers slash Captain Marvel,
Mm-hmm.
Marvel,
Yeah.
Joseph Danvers Sr., Carol's father,
Mm-hmm.
Nick Fury, Maria Rambeau, Talos, and Jan Rog. Maria Rambeau is the mother to Monica Rambeau.
Mhm.
But all in all, my story would be more of an introspective reflection of a character rediscovering themselves.
Hmm.
And the main antagonist, which is Jan Rog, uh, what was it? Jude Law's character.
Yeah.
In the movie. He again, like I always like to do a theme parallel reflective of the villain and the hero in like superhero stories most of the time.
Yeah.
So while Carol chooses to be an individual, Jan Rog chooses to still be part of the collective.
Mhm.
I mean, they still make it. Both of them still make an individual choice, but one chooses freedom of being yourself, while
And one chooses the security and conformity of the collective and selling his own individuality down the river.
yep. And I think I wrote that right. Right. Okay. So the individual triumphing over the collective, which is the major theme. Huh. Where did I must not have written it, but the whole thing was is that to you can be individuals together, and everything that makes you an individual, like weaknesses and strengths, can be amplified and made and like the slack of your weaknesses are picked up by other individuals' strengths.
Yeah.
So you can be a team of individuals, and that's stronger than a collective, just because
Mhm.
a collective is guided by one rule, while
Yep.
while I guess um, a group of individuals are guided by their own means of each other, but come together for one thing.
Mhm.
I don't think I properly explained that.
Not quite. The way I would define the difference is a collective subsumes their individual identities beyond to the will of the collective. A group of individuals forming a collective use their individual attributes additively rather than discursively.
Yeah.
No, there is no loss of personhood from within an individualistic collective. There
Mhm.
is a loss of personhood necessarily in a collectivist collective, because in the mind of a collectivist collective, the individual is worth less than the collective.
Yeah.
In an individualistic collective, the worth of the collective is derived from the inherent individual worth of the individuals.
But another thing I do is like a change. I would have Marvel actually be a dude,
Yeah.
just on the fact that I do want to have a romance that had happened to Carol Danvers
Hmm.
with Marvel, because I do keep the one thing where Marvel was killed by Jan Rog, and Carol's mind was
Right.
memories were wiped. Well, not wiped, but like blocked and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I fridge a dude there, equality there. But But I was gonna keep a lot of the kind of comic origin,
Mm-hmm.
like the original comic origin, where I think she gets exposed to Kree energy,
Yeah.
and like a whole story wise that she was friends with Talos and Marvel, and she fell in love with Marvel because he became like her mentor and taught her how to control her powers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And while they're trying to help Talos and like the rogue group of Skrull,
Mm-hmm.
um, they're attacked by like the Kree and Yon-Rogg, and Yon-Rogg kills Marvel and takes Carol and basically brainwashes her. Believes she's someone else.
Mm.
And I wanted to just give her more personality and a character, and obviously give her a character arc too, which were things she was
Mm-hmm.
sorely lacking in the actual movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just uh, and the reason why I have Carol's father is there is one, not to act as some weird mouthpiece for the like some weird like symbol of patriarchy or whatever.
Ideological mouthpiece for everything feminist hate.
Yeah,
The exemplar of toxic masculinity. Mwahaha.
which is total bullshit. Gives fathers a bad rep.
Yeah, and now you're beginning to understand why so many feminists lobby against egalitarianism in the family courts and prefer when women are given custody of their children.
If anything, I would say, and I'm not. This isn't me trying to attack anyone or anything. I'm just saying, from my experience, mothers tend to be worse to their children psychologically.
I I don't know if I would agree necessarily with that. I think
Well, honestly, I would say it's more of it's a equal thing with them and like how fucked up parents can be to children.
mhm. To quote House from House, all parents screw up all children. It's just a matter of degrees.
Yeah, but my point still stands is that I wanted to actually have a connection to, with Carol and her father because I think there was a good relationship with her father in in the older comics.
Yeah, and they basically invented an abuse subplot for modern books.
Which is stupid.
Because my feminism and my fighting of the patriarchy.
Fathers can be good parents. I'm sick of the whole stereotype.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I've had father figures, never an actual father, but still, though, it's a weird and stupid stereotype. I mean, granted, it has some pull to it, but I wouldn't say often.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't want to involve Carol's father in the cast. One, as a way to give her a connection and
Mm-hmm.
more of a humanity and stuff.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously, I would still be taking liberties because one, I'm not a big. I've never really caught up with Miss Marvel or anything,
Mm-hmm.
so I would take some liberties. Like I believe I wanted the idea of her like gaining some memories of her like childhood, like kind of her personal life and not the life she was as a fighter pilot or anything. Not just yet.
Mm-hmm.
Of her and her father and her grandfather being flyers, being pilots,
Hmm.
and like the thing that triggers her memories with that with the song also yesterday, which was a song that was shared by her and her father when she was growing up. He took her to like a Beatles concert.
Mm-hmm.
Is that she is that she sees a medal that she was given to by her father that was her grandfather's for flying in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Again, these are ideas I probably wouldn't put in the actual script for the video. If I were to actually write a script for the movie itself, that would be something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all in all, I just wanted to change up like the father. I mean, granted, the father wasn't at all really in the movie that much. Like I don't know, like a minute and a half of screen time altogether.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted, because often or not, I think a lot of side characters can be given more screen time if they're handled better.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. And another thing is the reason why she takes the name Captain Marvel is one, I think she has the rank of captain,
Mm-hmm.
and Marvel is because that was the name of her lover who was killed. So she
Mm-hmm.
takes the name Marvel as a kind of way to honor him.
Yeah.
And just by saying that, the feminists would lose their fucking minds.
How dare you tie a woman's identity to a man's role in her origin? Well,
It's ironic that they say that, given the fact that they did that in the comics and the movie. Well, not the movie itself, but the comic.
mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about the Avenger thing. I mean, if it was my version, I think it could make sense, but obviously in the actual movie, it makes no sense.
Well, not only that, but Captain America is the first Avenger.
Was he called the first Avenger though, or was he just called the first Super Soldier?
Well, the movie itself was called the first Avenger.
Yeah,
So
but I'm talking about in the world, continuity wise and story wise. Does it make sense?
no, not that I'm aware of, but still, it's implied via the title that he is the first Avenger, and he is in 1940. So, like, you have to basically completely eliminate Cap's importance to the universe. Not to mention the fact that he inspires Phil Coulson and Nick Fury and basically all the other heroes, and is sort of seen as this shining beacon
You know
character.
what's weird? Thor is older than pretty much everyone. You
And
know,
he acts the most juvenile most of the time.
right? But the funny thing is that technically he is the first Avenger because he was born first.
It's best not to think about that because then you're left wondering why didn't the Avengers form thousands of years ago?
Well, I think
What would it look like if it was like the Ancient One and Thor and the Eternals, I guess, whenever they eventually introduce the Eternals.
yeah. Well, it's just it's weird that they say Captain America's the first Avenger, and I mean, yeah, if we're talking about like the timeline of the Avengers, like of the team, then sure. But in logic wise, it makes more sense that Thor would be called the first Avenger, just on the fact that he existed before any of them.
Well, I think it's because Thor didn't go through his character building arc until after Cap.
Right. Okay. I guess
Because before then, he was off in Asgard being an interdimensional dude bro.
and he left Earth as still the dude bro, though more kind of refined, I guess.
Noble
Yeah, more noble,
than he was.
which which is fine. It's fine that you don't like personality wise, you don't have to change. You can still be
Yeah,
different.
I mean, Tony Stark is still an asshole. Like, even post Iron Man, it's a running gag. So
Yeah.
a person is going to be who they are. It's just a matter of how much more perfected of themselves are they.
Oh, hey, speaking of Thor, did you ever check out the like fan edits I had sent you of the
I still haven't looked at those.
if you want, we can pull that one up.
Yeah, why not?
I would just have to, yeah. I mean, I could go into some of the stuff I worked on for Avengers Endgame, but again, like I said, I have like 4 scripts and probably going to be writing more.
Well, and also you can save that for next week because we'll be doing more of these soliloquies, so why not?
Yeah. Okay.
Hang on, I gotta turn on my lights because it's starting to get dark in here.
Yeah, you live on like East Coast Pennsylvania, right? Pennsylvania,
Correct.
right? Okay. I don't know why for the longest time I thought it was Connecticut.
Yes, I remember you thinking that, and I remember you being wrong on multiple occasions because of it.
Yeah, my bad. We still got the sun setting around here. Granted, I live like a state before the West Coast.
Hmm.
I think. Okay.
So you are actually in a slightly different time zone than me.
Almost. I'm still in Eastern Standard Time, but
Okay, so you'd be right around like Ohio then. 'Cause I know halfway through Ohio is where the shift happens. So you're in the Midwest then.
I suppose so.
Hmm. Anyway, late.
Well, I mean,
Very, very late.
I live in Indiana. So
Okay, so I wanted to do
nope, stop. Okay, give me one moment. I gotta find like where he's actually. So keep in mind, this guy is an editor talking about the process. Because if you actually try to show the clip on YouTube, some Marvel like the YouTube algorithm will flag you for copyrighted content. Though, so there's gonna be some stopping and pausing and stuff.
Yep. We've got to make sure we don't violate the laws of the DMCA. So banana.
Well, I wasn't just talking about us. I was just talking about the guy who's actually working in the video.
Oh.
So, this guy is called Sheepish. Sheepish. Cannot talk today. Right. Yeah, his name is Sheepish. He's an editor and does good work. I ran into his work about a month or so back. He's doing a couple of different edits. Like he's re-editing Thor: The Dark World, which I think he's now calling Thor Convergence, which I think works a lot better.
Yeah.
Because
the main thrust of that movie was the convergence anyway.
Yeah, which looking back, it's weird that they call it Dark World when in fact you don't even get on the Dark World. It's like what, like 10 minutes altogether screen time. Dark
Yeah.
World.
Well, because they wanted it also to reflect the darkening of the tone they decided to go with, which he gets rid of anyway, so it works.
Well, yeah, this guy Sheepish. He makes it more along the lines of Thor Ragnarok, which is fine. I've made myself clear that I don't. It's more of just the shifting in tones compared to the other two movies. I would have preferred Thor: The Dark World to be that kind of bridge between the two,
Mm-hmm.
from the kind of dramatic not space opera, but operatic Shakespearean like first movie.
Game of Thrones in space.
Thank you, Dalton. And I would prefer that the Dark World would have had the balance of that kind of Shakespearean stuff, and then start to lean more into like the goof, and then Thor Ragnarok could be complete goof.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been fine with that. I don't dislike the movie itself. It's just, again, it's more of the tone thing.
It's jarring for him.
Yeah. And he's just okay. So he's No, I know what this is. So let me. Okay. So yeah, I really need to get another computer, like a laptop or something, so I can act like brand new one, so I can use Adobe Premiere without worrying like it will crash or anything.
Hmm.
And Adobe Premiere, just because that's really the only one I have the best knowledge of working on as an editing
Hmm.
software. $20 a month. It's not bad.
No.
I just need to get a bank account and some money.
Hmm.
Okay, I am done talking.
Exact transition into that exact scene. And what I've done here is I've adjusted the colors just a little bit to make them pop a little more. And I, instead of using a Led Zeppelin track, I decided to open.
Again, 20 seconds.
Banana.
But yeah, he does the same thing I do with like the color correction thing. And I don't know if I ever brought that up with Marvel movies. We have never brought that up with Marvel movies.
I think we have. I think we've talked about how the color palettes are always very washed out.
Yeah, it's always weird. Like you get all these people that are doing these things, like all the like editors and stuff, and no one ever thinks about doing the color
Yeah,
correction.
no one's just like, hey guys, since this is a color movie, why don't we like make the use of color?
I also have some gripes about like the camera and CGI and stuff, which I think we have gone over sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly how the CGI sometimes looks not either finished or kind of weightless. Like it has no, like you can tell it's CGI.
Yeah. There's no depth or heft to things.
Yeah. Also, sometimes also again with the camera thing, is that it feels like a TV camera.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense, like it doesn't feel like a cinematic. It doesn't feel cinematic.
Not really, no.
No.
But anyway, let's
Right. Okay. Yeah.
continue. Banana.
The Vanaheim fight with the Kiss song "God of Thunder," which I think works extremely well for this movie. But this is basically Thor: The Dark World getting the Ragnarok treatment. So here we go. It would take 5,000 years. All this because Loki decided.
Again, 20 seconds. At one point, I was thinking of making a serious edit of Thor: The Dark World. Not Thor: The Dark World, but
Ragnarok.
yeah. Um, just because I think sometimes it does undercut some serious moments with comedy.
Yeah, they could have toned it down a bit.
Yeah. Even though I know that's Taika Waititi's style, I think it works better for his original stuff than it does for like IPs he works on. Which, granted, the only IP he's worked on so far is Thor.
Thor. I'll be curious to see what he does now, because now he obviously has the clout of a Hollywood filmmaker, so he can basically make any original stuff he wants to.
Well, JoJo's Rabbit.
Oh, right, because yeah, the one that they decided was forbidden because reasons.
I thought it was still coming out because I thought a trailer came out like a couple days ago.
Did it? I'll have to look that up.
Well, he's playing Hitler, and I believe, yeah, like it's been made clear that he is a Jew, which is it's funny in my opinion, and
Yep.
it looks good. It had me chuckling in the trailer and stuff.
Springtime for Hitler.
I mean, I would probably watch it just on the fact that I'm not really interested in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I watched his What We Do in the Shadows movie, and I've caught like an episode or two of the series they made.
Yeah, it's good.
He is funny. I'm not going to deny that. It's just, again, I think the real problem is, I think for Thor, it doesn't work compared because of the other two movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem.
Well, the problem was they were trying to fix what was broken in the first two movies, basically.
And I think they should have fixed it in the second movie.
Yeah, but they got the wrong message out of Thor 1, so
Yeah.
they ended up actually making the problem worse.
Okay.
It is my birthright. Your birthright was to die!
All of that.
Child. Cast out onto a frozen rock. I had no.
I will admit though, Dark World does have good scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Movie overall has problems. I'm not going to deny that, but I think like this scene between Odin and Loki is good.
Yeah.
Just like two good goddamn actors.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Hopkins was underused in Thor Ragnarok. I will say that though.
He was underused in Thor as well. He's been literally half the movie sleeping.
Good paycheck though.
Well, I know, but one does not simply cast Anthony Hopkins and then make him sleep through the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that is actually true. And I'll also say this: I think I noticed the coloring now, because usually, in Marvel films, everything just seems kind of muted and pale.
Yeah.
Where in this one, there's like actual depth. Like in a typical Marvel film, the shadows on Loki's face would you wouldn't even notice them. They're like it's too light. But here, it's again like it's very cinematic.
Yeah.
I would probably add the cinema bars to make it even feel more cinematic, but again, that's just me.
Mm-hmm.
Not taking you in, you would not be here now.
If I could ask for mercy's sake, just swing it. It's not that I don't love others.
This is a pretty good season, in all honesty.
I don't love them.
Frigga is the only reason you're still alive.
Yeah, it's just I think I paused at the wrong moment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, I mean like what I meant is like I started the video at the wrong moment because I know that the Vanaheim fight with God of Thunder by Kiss is up soon because obviously you can see it on the screen there, and then in the editing table.
Yeah.
It just I stopped it to I just had it at the wrong place is my problem.
Alrighty.
That's my bad. Trying to. I believe you have a text, Dalton.
No.
I heard a buzz.
Yeah, I got a notification, but it wasn't a text. No.
Oh, okay. I'm not.
You will be kicked.
Hits with the weapons even kind of.
I think the music adds more punch to that fight.
It really does.
Yeah. You know, I'd show you guys some edits I had done for Justice League with music and stuff. I even put some music from Glass in towards the end.
You took music from Glass and you put it in Justice League?
Yeah. Specifically the track called Origin Story.
Oh, okay.
It is so good. Like it, and I think it works obviously for the ending of Justice League, where that's the origin of the team. You know, the whole movie itself, where they finally came together.
Hmm.
I think the only way I ever made it really good. Well, I deleted all of the footage though I had done, just on the fact that I think it still had so many problems. I wanted to retry again.
Hmm.
But I think the major thing I had done to make it better was cut out a lot of the Flash's dialogue.
Hmm.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There were moments that were fine. It's just
Not a lot of them.
only moment I really liked was Batman telling Flash to save one person. Like that moment there.
Hmm.
That's pretty much it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I scrapped that, and most probably I'm going to try to redo Batman v Superman first.
Hmm.
See how that works.
Good luck.
Thank you. Okay.
Are in sync with the song, which is even more awesome. That was kind of an accident.
You're completely under control. Oh, what? Everything's on fire.
Again, I think, honestly, again, it's the music that makes the scene better. Somehow.
Hmm.
I'm not even sure how that works sometimes.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
But yeah, no, it's what I wanted to show you. And again, guys, if you want to see a movie done differently by someone who's dedicated enough to actually edit it, I would suggest go check out Cheapish. Just type in what's in my search bar already. That's the channel. Should pop
Hmm.
up on the search
And,
bar.
and on that note, we actually just passed the 3-hour mark. So is that a good place to call it?
I think so. I mean, I'm probably gotta get some. I got a little food in my belly and stuff. So,
Yeah. Ditto.
right, okay, folks. We are calling it. We wish you adieu, Avita, say goodbye, sayonara, peace, so long,
Shalom and cheers.
adios, and aloha.